各位老师，大家下午好。下面我们开始最后3位老师的讲座。首先是由Ivan Jovanovski 为我们分享马其顿国家足球队2021年在欧足联欧洲锦标赛历史性出现背后的故事。Ivan 是运动科学学士，专精于足球项目的体能准备，在该领域工作17年。在团队层面获得了以下成绩。2次联赛冠军，3次杯赛冠军，2次超级杯冠军。马其顿国家足球队2020年欧洲杯资格赛。下面开始 Ivan 的讲座。
你好，我叫 Ivan，来自马其顿，谢谢，姚军。So as I said, my name is Ivan and I'm from Macedonia. I'm very pleased and thankful to be invited in this supporting Shanghai conference. First of all, very big thanks to the initiator, Sasha Petsev. He's also part of the sport coaching community in Shanghai. And also greetings to you all who will have a part in this conference. And as you know, the last 2 years of our lives were very difficult, especially for the sportsmen, because it was COVID time and a lot of canceled events, a lot of problems on the border, a lot of PCR tests and so on, trying to overcome every obstacle and adapt and stay in shape. Big empathy to all, especially the one who work abroad, far away from their families and their homeland, just like me. So for the beginning, I want to say that today my topic is not a classical presentation, but it's more of a podcast, the type of narrative form. So I will speak about our success with the Macedonian national football team, and I will speak about the difference working in club and in national team. First of all, I want to say something more about me, so you can know me better. So I started connecting with sport in the early age when I was playing and training in the local club in my hometown, and I was very interested in early age about body, about power, about speed, and so on. Because in my home we had the books of medicine. My father is a doctor, so I'm used to see pictures of muscles, bones, and so on. So this was my starting point of developing myself as a human who will go in this direction afterwards. So in the faculty, I was starting to really do something more about the issue. So I went to the Faculty of Physical Education and Sport in that time, generation 2001-2004. And I was lucky to be a helping hand on the cathedra of football, who was responsible for all those educational process in the federation about UEFA A, B, and Pro license. So we had good information directly from UEFA. We saw the process and so on. So for me, I was very happy about that, and it gave me a lot of new stuff to be able to upgrade myself. So from this time, after the graduation, I started doing the postgraduate courses, and parallelly I started doing work in the clubs. So in the early stage, I immediately went and do my stuff in practical way, and my philosophy, my approaches, experimenting all the time, finding solutions to every problem that I had. So a couple of clubs in the Macedonian leagues, first and second league. I went and worked with pleasure, with a very big enthusiasm. After a couple of years, after 5 years actually, I went to 2010. I went in neighboring Bulgaria in the club of CSKA, where also we had a good success, going to the group phase in League of Nations, taking the cup and the Super Cup. Then went to the brand newly club who went inside the Premier League. And we take the Super Cup Championship and the Cup of Bulgaria with Ludogorets Razgrad. So it was very nice and very unforgettable feeling, taking these titles. And then went to work in Azerbaijan, in Inter Baku, for 3.5 years. Also, the club was organized, very well organized, very well, with very well, how can I say, staff and players. So we went all the time. We went to the third round of the League of Nations, of the League of Europe, and it was like a possibility to see the European football more from inside. Once again, and after that I went to Ankara Gençler Birliği. That was Super League club. It was very nice, organized, and with a very good infrastructure. Football in Turkey is like a religion, a lot of fans, a lot of pressure, and so on. So this was my how can I say, very, very nice experience I had there in Turkey. And after that, I went home in Macedonia, working for the Academy of Pandev, with whom I take the Cup of Macedonia, the Cup of National Cup. So after that, I went to Çaykur Rizespor. It was a small city with a very nice club, very well organized in the north of the country. The club at that time was in the second league. It's the TFF1 league, and we made this club champion, and went straightforward for the first league, Super League, actually, in Turkey. So in between, when I was in Bulgaria, I had the opportunity to go in some kind of educational visit in two clubs. When I was in CSKA, I went in Udinese in Italy, and when I was in Ludogorets, I went in Valencia. It was a host type visit with host from the clubs. They let you see the process, see some trainings, ask the coaching staff about everything you're interested in. And I was very pleased to have that opportunity there. So in this time in Udinese, Guidolin was the coach, and in Valencia in this time was Emery coach, head coach. So I had a lot of seminars, a lot of education, and additional education. So my point was to be able to freely work when there is a need of someone. You have to go search for the market, research for the market, see what is going on, where you can add your knowledge and experience. So in the period when I was working in Azerbaijan, the newly elected coach of the national team, Igor Angelovsky, called me. He was, in that time before, he was assistant coach in the national team with the head coach Ljubim Kodrulovic. Madrulovic left the national team, so Igor took over. So Igor is a young trainer of the young generation, Macedonian trainer of the young generation. So he called me and he asked me if I can join his staff. But there, I was on a contract with the club, so I put some effort to deal this question, and I made a deal with the club. And when there was a national break, I went working for the national team. So Macedonia as a country, when you compare it to the others, is a small country, not more than 2 million people. And I don't know, the investments in sport are very low. The budget of the football clubs are very low. The most popular sport in Macedonia is handball, by the way. So it's not easy to succeed when you're from Macedonia. It's not easy to succeed. The country is small economy, it's poor country. It's not integrated in the European Union still. So it's like fighting all the time for everything. So when you see this position, it's not easy to make success from the starting point. The genetical pool is small, not more than 2 million people, but we have a lot of migration. So the migration makes the effort more easily when migration kids in Europe or in Australia, United States or Canada play football. You can have possibility to take players from these leagues, and this is the structure of players that we have. It's not a big one, but it's how can I say, is enough for us if we know the secrets of how we can function together to make good success. So Igor Angelovsky in this time wanted to make a different strategy, wanted to make something new, something fresh. So there was 2 points: first, developing the strategy, and second of all, bringing Goran Pandev to the club, to the national team. That in this time, Goran Pandev didn't play for the national team. He was in some kind of conflict with the federation, some arguing and so on. So he left the years back. He left the national team. So we wanted to get him back so he could be the captain. He could be the leader, the most experienced leader of the group. So he took the challenge. He said that he agrees. He came, and we start like that in the 2017, building up the new team of the national football team. And how can I say, step by step, we had success. We tried a lot of ways to find the proper solution for the dynamic of the game, proper solution, proper players with the quality, with physical conditioning and so on, because when they're not playing in their leagues, it's difficult to use the players in maximal effort. So for example, this is the way we started. It was a hard time for us, but we find proper philosophy. We started with philosophy of a point of David against Goliath. So we wanted to aim right in the eye, so we can find an open door for our success. So when we took over the national team, it was around positioning around 155, I think, on the ranking, FIFA ranking, and afterwards we made almost a jump of 100 places in a 2 years time. So we find and make the team from very experienced players. that mostly played abroad, and very young players who also mostly of them played abroad, and it was mixed between the experience and young blood. So when you see that the national team is sort of a place where the players want to come and see their relatives, time to get rest from the pressure of the clubs, we had to find a solution where you have to be able to still act professionally in every part of the way, but still have some releasing pressure valve. And this was the point where Igor played the most important role. He take out the pressure from the players. He wanted the players to feel like a big, when they come to the national team, to feel like home, because only for the home, only for the family, you don't play for money, but for honor. And this was also very important in a psychological way when you analyze it. Second of all, we used a lot of trainings that are based on speed reaction. We integrated all those qualities in the game positioning, in small side games. We made a lot of restructuring and the way national team looks and works outside the field. So we had more relaxed atmosphere. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of team building. We used a lot of techniques that are, I don't know, not used to football clubs and collectives. Like we do focus mandala. We do a lot of kid game. We do a lot of movies, theater. So we wanted to make complete relaxation so they can give the maximum effort, because the soul is more important than the body when it comes to sport. So the body is like the cable, and the soul is the energy source. So we were aiming to the energy source. We were aiming to the third eye, as they say. So we wanted to make something different. That was our point. So the training sessions were short. Players were mostly the same. We wanted to have structure of like 16, 17, 18 players that are all the time with us, that we needed like refreshing number of players that are not more than 2 or 3, and to make a skeleton that is based on the most quality players and the most strong mentally players. And we when we make the effort, we saw that the characters of the players are more important than the physical situation of the player, because if you have a character that are very in conflict, you can lose control over the team. And that's why the head coach always wanted to have low conflict momentum in the team. So he wanted to make friends, group of friends, and group of people who will sacrifice one for another, and who will upgrade their qualities next to each other. So it was also the case, because for example, 99% of the players, when they started, they were low-ranked clubs, and in the national team they were in with the games, with the philosophy we and the approach we did, there were upgradings in their own careers every time. So every year it was like new club for a new contract for the players, and everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. We extract the maximum of life energy from those guys, and I think that we made a perfect job for the time. What can I say more? As I said, we put all our effort to build up a team and to build up something that will lead us to the success. So in general, if you see the numbers, we had 53 games with 23 winning games, 11 draw games, and 19 losts. So in this scoring, we jumped more than 100 places on the FIFA ranking. So we were satisfied in this period. So from 2016 up till 2021, we build up the structure of the team, the character of the team, and the willingness to win. That was most important. Depending on the camp, we had 2 or 3 games, especially 3 games in the last period when there was COVID situations. So the calendar was changed. So when we had 2 games, we used normal microcycles depending on when is the date of the game. It sometimes is in Tuesday, sometimes it's in Saturday or Sunday, depending on the calendar. The second game, maybe it will be in Monday or in Tuesday, depends. So after the weekend, when the last weekend before the break of the national break, we collect all the players. So they fly from their home clubs. So they fly approximately several hours. They're on the road, and they come immediately after the games, depend on the connections. So we have 1 or 2 days we used to make recovery sessions, active or passive, depending on what is the volume of intensity and volume in the last microcycle from the club. We had communication with the clubs also, so they send us information, we send information back, depending on the club, depending on the player. If there is interest for him, the club always pushes to know what is going on with him or something similar. So in this period, most of the time we had 1 recovery day. Sometimes we have 2 recovery days, depending on the full activity of our players in the clubs. So we have some preloading and loading phases. That's in preloading phases, we used a lot of how can I say, passing formats, positioning game, and so on. We wanted to delete all the explosiveness out of it, but sometimes you cannot. But if it was, then it was very short, and it was with very big attention. And in the loading phase, we had a lot of work on agility, sprinting. We had a lot of small side games mainly, and depending on the periodization, when is the first game. So we had like a post-loading phase. So we had some super compensatory day, and before match training before match. So it's used to be a short one up till 45 minutes, at least 50 minutes, depend on the issue. And we had a lot of high tempo, low short duration exercise. Sometimes we put here a lot of emotional games in the beginning of the training as warming up sessions. So we used, there's like release the stress games. So we had a lot of fun in this, because small nations, small national teams have more pressure, that less pressure, but our team wanted to win every game, wanted to show the quality, and that's why we have to compensate with this kind of attitude on the field. So we have to transfer all the friendly energy, the relaxed energy from the hotel, for example, to the field, so they can feel free, even if they make mistake, if they feel free to say, hey, I made mistake or something, to put the blame on you. It's to be easy, not to be afraid of something. So this is more a psychology, how can you manage to lead a group of this kind. So as I said, we had a lot of games that are very important wins. We were first in the League of Nations when UEFA promote this kind of project. So we were first in the group. The real team that can put us in danger was Armenia, but we win, and we were very stable in the group. And then after that, we went to the semifinals, play with Kosovo home and win this game 2-1. And after that, we went to the finals. This was a very important game. It was in COVID time. It was pressure on us, pressure on them. Georgia was a very strong team. And at the end, we win 0-1 at away game. It was very, very important for us. We made it all happen, because in Macedonia, in all group sports, we had success in this kind. So handball, we made to the European Championship. We made to the World Cups. We made with basketball also. So in volleyball also. So we were left behind, like football, like most popular sport in the world. So when we did this success, it was ecstasy in the country, and was very interesting to watch, to be part of it. So then I can say that the organization of the European Cup was very, very high level. Even it was in COVID time. Our base camp was in Bucharest. We trained on the Steaua Stadium, and our hotel was very close. All the needed essence for the training camp was there. So maybe only the restriction of moving around, communicating was very difficult, because we had the same type of quarantine before the European finals, and we went only 2 weeks for a preparation period in Macedonia. We played 2 games with Slovenia and Kazakhstan. It was very difficult to after the championship of the nation championship of the clubs. They released the players, and they went right on the preparation, so they didn't see their families, and there was no big pause in between. A lot of players came even late, because some championships finished very late, and it was very difficult for us. No, but in time we adapt to it, and the most interesting was that the crisis was in Bucharest, with the old regime for quarantine regime, for don't move nowhere and so on. You go to bed, get up in the morning, have breakfast, go to training, do whatever you can do in your room, and that's it. So in this period, we had only 2 weeks to prepare with only 2 games. I said Slovenia and Kazakhstan, one draw and 4-0 win. So in the games for the European Cup, we had losses with Australia, Ukraine, and Holland, but we are satisfied at least for one half of the games. We represent good fighting football, and I want to congratulate all the players and all the staff for letting me and letting my colleagues to experience such a thing. So thank you for the attention. I was glad to take part in this conference, and I'm happy to know more friends and more colleagues with this conference. Thank you very much, and see you. Bye bye.